Welcome to our third podcast session in this series of podcasts organized by the International Hellenic University. We are very happy today to be hosting a discussion with Bogdan Iordache, who is from Romania and who is a very active figure in all issues concerning entrepreneurship, innovation, has been recently involved in an entrepreneurial competition. So without further ado, Bogdan, please, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Bogdan Iordache. I am the co-founder and CEO of HowToWeb, which is probably the reason I was invited to have this short interview. HowToWeb is the biggest and the most important tech innovation conference in Southeastern Europe. Besides that, I have my own experience as an entrepreneur. I've graduated computer science University in Bucharest. Then I went on to create a company which was called Interactive People, focused on e-learning product services, which failed after just 1 year. Then I started an NGO for matchmaking students from the IT&C field with companies for internships, and that's a great program that has lasted through the years, and right now is the biggest internship program in Romania. Then I've started Connect2, which is an email marketing company, which I currently own. And in 2010, I started organizing HowToWeb, which was at that time quite a small event, but it went international pretty soon. And this year we had the third edition of HowToWeb, with almost 800 people from 10 countries and a great startup competition and program.
It's quite interesting because I think you mentioned that in this recent competition, one of the winners was Incredible.com, which is actually a Greek startup.
Yes, the startup competition is focused on all early stage startups in Central and Eastern Europe. We are trying to bridge a gap on early stage investment. So what we do is we get teams from all over Central and Eastern Europe which have raised less than 100,000 euros and they're active for less than 2 years. And we are trying to match those with accelerator programs, with growth programs, or business angels, or very early stage funds. So Incredible was one of the winners. Actually, it was the main winner of the startup competition. And well, I have to say once more, congrats to them. They did a great job.
So you mentioned that you're a computer graduate, right?
Yes.
So in the ICT sector nowadays, it's not very difficult to find people who have excellent coding skills. But what do you think it takes to take it further from that and to become a successful entrepreneur in the ICT sector?
Well, I cannot give you a full answer regarding the global markets, but I can tell you that there are a few very tricky points regarding entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship in Southeastern Europe. So I think the biggest barrier that we have is that locally in Southeastern Europe, we don't have a lot of markets, a lot of local markets that allow startups to grow locally and then expand internationally. That creates a problem for entrepreneurs because you are somehow disconnected with bigger markets, so you don't. Most of the entrepreneurs don't have direct contact with the potential clients from, I don't know, UK, Germany, US. So the biggest problem that we have is this disconnection in terms of market needs and market realities. Then the second problem that you have is regarding gaining experience.
Okay.
And if you have to, gaining experience is really hard because every entrepreneur has to fail once or twice for learning how to do their stuff. It's almost impossible to do a successful startup like right from the start, although you have seen We've seen some examples of that, but it's really difficult, and it rarely happens. So why is it difficult to gain experience? Well, if you look at the Western countries, and well, especially US, you have this soft landing. So first of all, if you start a company, it's more easier to get early stage money, especially from family, friends, and fools. So that level of financing is not really existent in Southeastern Europe. Again, if it happens to fail, which is it's a normal outcome sometimes, failure is well, it's just a bad word around here. The mentality in the West is that failing is actually a learning process, is a learning moment. So you have to go through failure, not being bitter and just upset because things didn't work, but you can learn from that experience and you can move on and do better things. I would say that those are the main problems that we have in Eastern Europe, in Southeastern Europe especially. If you ask me what does it take to become successful, well, I think it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of vision for understanding how things work, not only locally but just globally, and try to go after bigger markets. I think those are the most important things that an entrepreneur should have.
So let me just skip a bit forward and ask the following. You mentioned about the importance of failure in entrepreneurship, right? There is a number of IT entrepreneurs that are what you might call serial entrepreneurs, which is to say that they try venture after venture after venture. When do you think it is best to focus on a single project, and when does it make sense, to try things consecutively, time after time?
Well, it's mostly about the focus of an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have some entrepreneurs which are really passionate about one field. They just they want to build the best products for, I don't know, crowd funding or email marketing. They are passionate about a certain field.
Okay.
That entrepreneur would like to become a specialist in that field. So at some point, he may think of doing a project on his own, a startup, because he just feels that that's the best way to create value in that field. At some other time, he may think that it's better, to sell the startup and just be an employee in another company, and that's also a great way of adding value to that field. But that type of entrepreneurship is not really focused on the entrepreneurship part. It's rather focused on the passion for doing stuff in a certain sector. The serial entrepreneur is most of the times really keen on doing businesses, launching products. He's not really a specialist in one field or the other, and most of the times a serial entrepreneur has to find somebody who has a lot of expertise in just the field that he is tackling, and he has to go to that field and get expertise, domain expertise, and get everything from there. So I think it's everything is about the focus of the founders. Like let me give just one quick example. If you think about domain expertise, think about the guys who started Foursquare, right? They had a similar startup previously to that, which was called Dodgeball. They sold that to Google. They stayed in the Google team doing the same type of work, and they moved on at some point doing another startup focusing on the same field, which now we all know as being Foursquare. Then you have people from the Twitter team who, from Twitter, which is short messaging system. They moved on to build Square, which is payment operator. So it's a totally different field. And I would say that's the serial entrepreneur, and the first one is rather a specialist.
Okay. And based on experience, do you think entrepreneurs are born or made? And what is the role that the university can play in, fostering entrepreneurship?
I think entrepreneurs are made.
Okay.
I don't think you have this. You need to have certain genetic, characteristics for being an entrepreneur. I've seen different types of entrepreneurs. You see entrepreneurs who are really, communicative, and they have great social skills. Some of them are more withdraw, and they like to do stuff out of just in their comfort space. There is no yellow path, there is no just one way to success.
And what can a university do to support entrepreneurship?
I think the most important attributes for an entrepreneur are the cultural ones. So I think that the difference between people who are interested into entrepreneurship and the ones who are not are rather based on their family culture, based on the environment that they grew, and from this point of view, university, I would say it cannot actually form entrepreneurs, but it can help the ones that aspire to become entrepreneurs to get the knowledge that they need to better understand what are their professional paths, to create maybe a meeting place for them, because people with entrepreneurial mindset sometimes feel, I don't know, especially in Europe, they feel that universities are more for educating future employees rather for educating people who want to create value no matter what their place in society will be.
I see. So if you had to give a single advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, students from the ICT sector, from Greece, from abroad, what do you think it would be, and why?
The only advice that I always give is just start your own thing. If you are curious about entrepreneurship, you will never know how it is until you start a startup. I've seen many entrepreneurs who are somehow interested in doing things, but a person with an idea is not an entrepreneur. A person working on an idea is an entrepreneur, and the experience can help you decide if that's your way, if you want to go further doing that, or if you just want to stop and, create value through a different mechanism. So also I would add that if you want to start a startup, don't do it like a superhero. Don't start a startup assuming that everything will work and everything will be fine, because statistically you have quite low chances of succeeding. So it's better to create a safety net, whatever you do, in case things don't work your way. I mean, if they work, that's great, but if they don't, have a plan B.
I think that's a very good advice also. So we can conclude this short podcast at this point. I'd like to thank you again, Bogdan, very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
And if you'd like more information about the School of Science or the International Hellenic University, you can visit us at tech.ihu.edu.gr. Thanks again.